Have you ever found yourself hesitating before taking a step, worried that you might lose your balance and fall? It's a quiet fear many of us carry, even if we don't talk about it much. Falling can feel like a sudden threat to our independence, a reminder that our bodies aren't as strong as they once were. But what if I told you that falling isn't just about getting older or moving less? The way we walk every day plays a bigger role than most people realize. This little-known walking trick has already helped thousands of senior women regain confidence and avoid dangerous falls. It's simple, easy to learn, and could change how you move and feel every day. In this video, I'll share this powerful secret with you. Something every older woman deserves to know to stay safe and independent. If you are not subscribed, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. 1. Relatable situation. For many women over 65, walking used to be a simple pleasure. Something you did every day, whether it was down the street to visit a neighbor or just from the kitchen to the front porch to catch the afternoon sun. But somewhere along the way, that easy sense of freedom began to change. Maybe you caught your toe on the edge of a rug and stumbled, or you felt your knees wobble as you stepped off a curb. Perhaps you even had a fall, a sudden, terrifying moment that left you shaken, sore, and worried that it could happen again. It's easy to brush off these moments. I'm just getting older, you might think. Or maybe you quietly hope it was just bad luck, nothing more. You tell yourself everyone gets unsteady sometimes, especially as birthdays pile up and hair turns silver. But inside, there's a deeper worry, the kind that settles in your chest late at night when the house is quiet. What if it happens again? What if next time, you can't get up? No one likes to talk about these fears, but for many senior women across America, they are all too real. Now, let's pause and ask a different question. Is losing your balance truly an unavoidable part of aging? Do we have to accept that falls are simply the price we pay for the years we've been blessed with? Or could there be something else at play? Something most people overlook, even though it affects their safety every single day. What if the way you walk, the steps you take, the habits you've developed over decades are actually at the root of this problem? What if you could change your risk, not by turning back the clock, but by understanding your own body a little better? The truth is, the act of walking, something so basic, so familiar, relies on a remarkable partnership between your muscles, your eyes, your ears, and your brain. When you're younger, this partnership works so smoothly you hardly notice it. But as we age, subtle changes creep in. Muscles lose strength and flexibility, especially in the feet, ankles, and legs. Our eyesight might not be as sharp, making it harder to spot obstacles or uneven ground. Sometimes, medications can affect balance, or joints stiffen from arthritis. Even years of walking in a particular way, shuffling your feet, leaning forward, or staring at the ground, can create habits that increase your risk of falling, without you even realizing it. Science tells us that most falls don't happen because of one big, dramatic event. Instead, they're often the result of these small, everyday changes adding up over time. Maybe your stride has gotten shorter, or you've started to look down at your feet instead of ahead. You might move a little more slowly, or grip the wall when you walk down the hallway. All of these habits are perfectly understandable, but they can slowly train your body to lose its natural sense of balance. Before you know it, walking across the living room feels like crossing a tightrope. But here's the encouraging news. Balance isn't something that just disappears with age, never to return. Research from leading health institutions like the CDC and the Mayo Clinic has shown that older adults can retrain their bodies to walk more safely. Simple, mindful changes in your walking habits can make a world of difference. It's not about running marathons or lifting heavy weights. It's about understanding the mechanics of your own body and making small adjustments that add up to big results. One of the most effective techniques is called the mindful step. It's a walking trick that physical therapists often teach to their older patients, and it has helped thousands of senior women regain confidence in their daily lives. Here's how it works. First, before you even start to walk, stand tall and plant both feet firmly on the ground. Take a slow, deep breath. Feel the ground beneath you and let your shoulders relax. As you take your first step, focus on lifting your foot fully off the ground. Don't shuffle or drag your toes. Place your heel down gently first, then roll your weight forward onto your toes. Keep your gaze forward, looking about 10 feet ahead instead of staring at your feet. Let your arms swing naturally at your sides for balance, and keep your steps even and measured. Try to walk through your hips, keeping your back straight and your core slightly engaged. If you feel unsteady, it's okay to use a cane or a walker. Using these tools correctly can greatly improve your balance and safety. Make sure your shoes fit well, with non-slip soles and good support. Slippers or loose sandals can be dangerous. Clear pathways in your home, remove throw rugs, and make sure areas are well lit. Try practicing this mindful walking technique for just 5 or 10 minutes each day, perhaps as you go down the hallway, circle the kitchen, or stroll to your mailbox. Over time, your body will start to remember how it feels to move with confidence. Your muscles will grow stronger, your posture will improve, and your sense of balance will return. Let me share a real story. Mary is a retired teacher from Ohio, 74 years old, who had always prided herself on her independence. Last winter, she slipped on a patch of ice outside her front steps. Thankfully, she didn't break any bones, but the fear stayed with her. She found herself clinging to furniture, hesitating at every doorway, and dreading her daily walks. Her daughter suggested trying the mindful walking technique. At first, Mary was skeptical. How could something so simple make a difference? But with gentle encouragement, she gave it a try. Each morning, she'd practice standing tall and taking deliberate steps. She learned to focus on her breathing and let her gaze look forward. Over a few weeks, Mary felt her confidence return. She stopped holding on to the walls and began to look forward to her neighborhood strolls again. "It gave me my life back," she told me, with a smile. "I realized I don't have to be afraid anymore." This is not just Mary's story. It's a story that could belong to any one of us. It's proof that change is possible at any age, and that small, steady steps can lead us back to freedom. Remember, your body is more resilient than you might think, and your spirit is stronger than any fear. So if you've been quietly worrying about your balance, or if you've had a scare that left you feeling vulnerable, please know that you are not alone. There is hope, and there is help. Try the mindful step. Practice each day, even if it's just for a few minutes. Share what you learn with your friends, your walking group, and your loved ones. The gift of balance is one of the best things you can give yourself in this stage of life. No one deserves to feel trapped by fear of falling. With patience, practice, and the right walking trick, you can regain the confidence to move through your world freely and safely, just as you always have. Every step is a step toward independence, dignity, and joy. So take that first mindful step today. You might be surprised by just how far it can take you. 2. Reverse assumption question. For most of our lives, we've been told that falling is simply part of getting older. Maybe you've heard your doctor say it, or you've read it in a pamphlet at the clinic. As we age, our risk of falling naturally increases. And so, almost without noticing, many of us begin to accept this idea as an unavoidable fact of life, as if it were as certain as the sunrise or the changing of the seasons. We tell ourselves, well, I'm not as steady as I used to be, but that's just aging. It's a belief that settles in quietly, reinforced every time you hear about a friend who took a tumble or see a television ad for medical alert devices. There's even a bit of dark humor about it in American culture. Cartoons, jokes about life alert, and well-meaning family members warning us to be careful, as if every step is a gamble. But what if that old assumption isn't the whole story? What if, instead of simply resigning ourselves to a future filled with worry, we could question this belief? Could it be that we have more control over our balance and stability than we think? Instead of thinking, "I'm old, so I will fall," what if we asked, "Is there something I could change even now to protect myself?" If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. For a long time, people believed that our bodies, and especially our brains, were like machines that wore out over time, with nothing to do but accept it. But new research in science tells us that our bodies are much more adaptable than we realize. Balance isn't just about muscles or bones. It's a complex dance between our eyes, ears, nervous system, and the tiny muscles in our feet and ankles. And this dance can be improved, even at 65, 75, or 85, simply by becoming more aware of how we move. Let me ask you, when was the last time you paid close attention to the way you walk? Not just getting from one place to another, but noticing how you move through your home or down the street. Most of us don't. Over the years, we develop habits. Maybe rushing a bit, looking down at our feet, leaning forward without thinking. We tell ourselves these habits are just part of getting older, but science suggests they might be making us more likely to fall. I remember talking to a woman named Ruth, a retired nurse from Indiana. Ruth had always been active and independent, the kind of grandmother who kept up with her grandkids and still baked pies every Sunday. But after she tripped on her garden hose and spent weeks recovering from a fractured wrist, Ruth started to believe her days of independence were over. "It's just old age," she said. "I guess I have to accept that falls are part of my life now." Her words stuck with me because they echoed what so many older Americans feel, a quiet sense of resignation, a belief that nothing can be done. But here's where we challenge that assumption. When Ruth's physical therapist visited her at home, he didn't start with heavy exercises or scary warnings. Instead, he asked her to take a few steps across the living room and simply notice how she walked. Was she shuffling? Was she holding her breath? Was she looking down, not ahead? Ruth realized she had stopped trusting her own body, almost without noticing. The therapist gently explained that while age brings changes, there are simple tricks to retrain our brains and bodies. He showed her a mindful walking technique, starting with standing tall, breathing deeply, and placing one foot firmly before the other. Eyes forward, shoulders back, not rushed, not hesitant. At first, Ruth felt a little silly. But over the next few weeks, she practiced, both inside and outside, and something remarkable happened. Her confidence started to return. She found herself walking a little taller, moving with more purpose, and feeling less anxious about every step. This is the part of the story where science and experience meet. Studies from leading institutions like Johns Hopkins and the CDC have shown that balance and stability can be trained and strengthened, no matter your age. Our bodies may change, but they are not doomed to fail us. The key is awareness, becoming curious about how you move and willing to try small adjustments. So, if you've caught yourself thinking, "I guess this is just how it is," let me gently invite you to ask a new question. What if I could improve my balance, starting today? What if the biggest obstacle isn't your age, but the belief that nothing can change? Here's a gentle technique you can try right now, right in your living room. Stand near a sturdy chair or counter for support. Take a deep breath and stand as tall as you comfortably can, letting your shoulders relax. Lift one foot slightly and place it down in front of the other. Heel first, then gently roll onto your toes. Keep your gaze forward, not down. Notice how your body feels. Are you tense? Are you breathing? Is your weight balanced between both feet? Try to take 5 slow, steady steps, focusing on each movement. If you feel wobbly, that's okay. It's a sign your body is learning something new. Repeat a few times each day, and you'll soon notice a difference. Of course, every person is different. Some of us have joint pain, neuropathy, or other conditions that make walking challenging. The point is not to ignore these challenges, but to approach them with curiosity instead of resignation. Even small changes, a better pair of shoes, removing trip hazards at home, or asking your doctor about medication side effects, can make a world of difference. I once heard a neighbor, Bill, a Vietnam veteran in his late 70s, say, "The day I stopped thinking I was too old to change was the day I started living again." Bill had taken a nasty fall in his garage, and for months, he barely left his house. But he started going to a senior yoga class, at first just to watch, then to try a few moves. It wasn't about bending like a pretzel, he said, but about paying attention to how his feet met the ground and how his breath supported him. 6 months later, Bill was walking his dog again, chatting with neighbors, and even fixing up his old Chevy in the driveway. "I realized," he told me, "that as long as I'm alive, I can keep learning." Let that be your encouragement today. Don't let an old assumption become your reality. You are not just a number or a statistic. You are someone who has faced life's challenges and adapted time and again. This chapter is no different. By asking a new question, by challenging the belief that falls are inevitable, you open yourself to new solutions, new confidence, and new freedom. Remember, the journey to better balance and fewer falls doesn't start with a prescription. It starts with curiosity, courage, and the willingness to take one mindful step at a time. Maybe today is your day to try. 3. Simple scientific explanation. Let's take a moment to look beneath the surface of what's happening in our bodies as we age, a gentle journey into the everyday science of balance and movement. If you've ever wondered why walking seems so much easier for a young child than for someone in their 70s or 80s, you're not alone. The truth is, there's a quiet orchestra playing inside each of us, making every step possible. And while a few instruments may get a little rusty with age, understanding how they work together can make all the difference in preventing falls. First, imagine balance as a triangle, with each corner representing a key system in your body. Your muscles and joints, your senses, like sight and hearing, and your brain and nerves. When all three work in harmony, you move through the world with steady confidence. But as the years go by, one or more corners can become a bit shaky, and that's where most of the trouble begins. Let's start with the muscles and joints. When you're young, your muscles are naturally springy and strong. They react quickly to change, like when you step onto an uneven sidewalk or trip over the edge of a rug. But as you get older, muscles, especially in the legs, hips, and feet, can lose some of their strength and flexibility. The joints, your knees, ankles, and hips, may stiffen or ache, making movements less smooth and sometimes even painful. If you've noticed your stride getting shorter or your steps feeling heavier, you're seeing the effects of these natural changes. Next, your senses come into play. Your eyes send constant information to your brain about what's in front of you. Are there stairs? Is the ground even? Are there obstacles in your path? If your vision has become blurry or you need new glasses, you might not see hazards as quickly as you once did. Your ears are important too. Deep inside, the inner ear helps control your balance. That's why ear infections, wax buildup, or certain medications can leave you feeling dizzy or off-kilter. Even the sense of touch on the bottom of your feet matters. It tells your brain if the ground is soft, hard, flat, or sloping. Medical conditions like diabetes or neuropathy, which dull those sensations, can sneakily raise your risk of tripping. But perhaps the most remarkable part of this balance triangle is your brain and nervous system. They act as the conductor, taking all the messages from your muscles and senses and deciding how to move your body safely. The brain coordinates every step you take, adjusts your posture, and helps you react in a split second if you lose your balance. When you were young, you might have been able to catch yourself without even thinking, but now, your brain's reaction time is naturally slower. Medications, sleep problems, or even stress can add a little extra fog to the signals. All of this might sound a little worrying, but here's the empowering news. Just as you can tune a musical instrument, you can tune up your body's balance systems. Scientists have found that balance isn't fixed in stone. It's a skill, much like learning to ride a bike or play the piano. Even if you haven't practiced for a while, your body remembers, and with a bit of gentle training, you can bring those systems back into harmony. Let's break this down a little further with an easy-to-understand example. Have you ever watched a toddler learn to walk? At first, they sway, topple, and even fall. But after each stumble, their bodies learn a little more. Their brains build new connections, their muscles get stronger, and their senses get sharper. This is called neuroplasticity, and the good news is, it doesn't stop with childhood. Your brain can keep learning and adapting no matter how many birthday candles are on your cake. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Here's how that looks in practice. When you start paying attention to how you walk, lifting your feet fully, rolling through the heel and toe, looking ahead, and letting your arms move naturally, your brain creates new pathways to support that healthy movement. If you gently challenge your balance, even by standing on one foot at the kitchen counter for a few seconds each day, your nervous system wakes up and begins to strengthen those crucial connections. Studies from respected centers like the Mayo Clinic and Harvard Medical School have shown that seniors who practice mindful walking and balance exercises, even just a few minutes daily, can dramatically reduce their risk of falling. It's not about working harder. It's about working smarter, sending your brain and body the right signals to keep you safe. You might wonder, but what about my arthritis? What if I have trouble with my knees or hips? That's a real concern, and it's important to listen to your body and work within your comfort zone. The beauty of mindful walking and balance practice is that it doesn't require fancy equipment or strenuous activity. Starting small is often best. Try standing with your feet together and gently swaying side to side, or walk slowly while focusing on each step. These simple movements help wake up the muscles, joints, and nerves that keep you steady. A helpful analogy comes from gardening, something many American seniors know and love. If you ignore a garden, weeds take over and plants wither. But with regular, gentle care, even a tired patch of ground can bloom again. Your balance works the same way. It needs a bit of attention, some sunlight, and patience. Each small step you take in retraining your balance adds to a healthier, safer future. Let's take a quick look at a few practical facts. Muscles and joints. They give you the power and flexibility to step over a curb or steady yourself on uneven ground. Vision and hearing. They alert you to changes in your environment, giving your body time to react. Brain and nerves. They pull everything together, allowing you to move smoothly and catch yourself if you trip. When one of these systems weakens, your risk of falling rises. But by gently working on all three, through simple walking tricks, regular movement, and staying mindful, you can restore much of the steadiness you thought you'd lost. Let me share a quick story that brings this science to life. There's a man in Texas named Harold, age 82, who used to be a ballroom dancer in his younger days. After a minor stroke, Harold lost much of his confidence and started shuffling his feet, always looking down, afraid of falling. His doctor recommended a physical therapist who showed Harold how to walk mindfully, lifting his feet, standing tall, and practicing simple balance drills at the kitchen counter. At first, Harold doubted anything would change. But within a few weeks, he noticed he was walking taller, catching himself when he wobbled, and even venturing out to the local park again. The science had worked, not because Harold became 20 years younger, but because he learned how to tune up the balance systems he still had. If you take only one thing from this story, let it be this: your body is wonderfully adaptable. Age may bring changes, but it doesn't mean you have to surrender your safety or your freedom. By understanding the simple science of how balance works, you give yourself a powerful tool, one that helps you move through life with more confidence, fewer falls, and more joy in every step. So, the next time you find yourself hesitating before a walk, remember that inside you is an orchestra ready to play again. With small, mindful changes, you can bring those instruments back into harmony and rediscover the steady rhythm of a life well lived. 4. Easy and gentle solution. If you've followed along so far, you know that understanding why falls happen is just the beginning. The real magic begins when you learn what you can do, right now, in your own home, without special equipment or a trainer by your side, to make yourself safer, steadier, and more confident on your feet. Let's talk about simple, gentle changes that truly work. First, let's begin with something you do every day: walking. Most people don't realize that the way they walk has quietly changed over the years. You might find yourself shuffling, taking smaller steps, or glancing at the ground instead of looking ahead. These habits are common, but they quietly raise your risk of falling. The good news? They're easy to change with a little attention and practice. Step 1. Start with awareness. Before you take your next walk, whether it's to the mailbox, around your living room, or out to greet a neighbor, pause for a moment. Stand still and feel your feet firmly planted on the floor. Take a slow, deep breath, letting your shoulders relax. Imagine you're rooted, steady as an old oak tree in your front yard. This pause is more than just a moment. It's your body's chance to reset and prepare. Step 2. Stand tall. As you get ready to move, gently roll your shoulders back and lift your chin so you're looking straight ahead. Imagine there's a string attached to the top of your head, gently pulling you upward. Standing tall helps you find your natural balance and keeps your center of gravity steady. It also opens your chest, making it easier to breathe, a small but wonderful benefit. Step 3. Take a mindful step. Instead of shuffling or sliding, try this. Lift one foot completely off the floor. Place your heel down first, then roll your foot forward so your toes are the last to touch the ground. Take your time. There's no prize for speed here. Let your arms swing gently at your sides for balance. Try not to look down at your feet. Keep your gaze about 10 feet in front of you. This helps your brain and body work together, creating new patterns of movement that support your balance. If this feels strange at first, don't worry. Most of us have been in a hurry for decades, always thinking about what comes next. Now is your time to savor each step, as if you're strolling through your favorite park or along the beach at sunrise. Step 4. Make friends with your environment. Look around your home and notice anything that might trip you up: loose rugs, power cords, piles of magazines, or even a curious pet underfoot. It's easy to ignore these hazards, but a few minutes spent tidying can prevent months of pain and worry. If possible, add a few nightlights to hallways and bathrooms, especially for those late-night trips to the kitchen or restroom. Good lighting is a quiet hero when it comes to fall prevention. And shoes, don't forget about them. Choose shoes with sturdy soles, good support, and a non-slip bottom. Avoid slippers that slide or sandals that flop. Many seniors find that a favorite pair of walking shoes, worn only indoors, helps them feel steady and secure all day long. Step 5. Gentle practice every day. Like learning any new habit, mindful walking takes practice. But the beauty is, you can do it anytime. Waiting for the kettle to boil, going from your bedroom to the bathroom, or strolling down your driveway to pick up the newspaper. Challenge yourself gently. For example, try standing on one foot while you brush your teeth, always near the counter for support. Or practice walking heel to toe along a hallway, like you're walking a tightrope, holding the wall if needed. Another helpful routine: each morning or evening, take 5 minutes to walk slowly through your home, focusing on each step. Notice your breath, your posture, and the way your feet connect with the floor. If you feel unsteady, it's okay to use a cane or walker. These tools are there to help you, not hinder your progress. Step 6. Don't be afraid to ask for help. If you're not sure where to start or if you've had a recent fall, ask your doctor about physical therapy. Many Medicare plans cover balance training and home safety assessments. A physical therapist can show you exercises tailored to your needs, and even visit your home to help you set up a safer environment. There's no shame in seeking guidance. It's a sign of strength, not weakness. You might even want to join a local walking group or exercise class. Many community centers and senior programs offer gentle balance and movement classes. These are wonderful places not only to practice new skills but also to connect with others who share your journey. Laughter, friendship, and encouragement can do wonders for your confidence. Real-life inspiration. Alice's story. Let me share the story of Alice, a 78-year-old grandmother from Pennsylvania. After a bad fall in her garden, Alice became fearful of walking alone, even inside her house. Her daughter encouraged her to try these mindful walking steps, practicing together each afternoon in the safety of the hallway. At first, Alice felt awkward and slow, but day by day, she noticed something wonderful. Her steps grew steadier, her confidence returned, and even her old garden hat came out of the closet. Within a few months, Alice was back tending her roses, carefully, mindfully, but with the freedom and joy she'd missed. Little changes, big impact. Remember, change doesn't happen overnight. Some days will feel better than others. But every small step you take adds up. Whether you're recovering from a fall, hoping to prevent one, or simply wishing to move through life with more grace, these easy solutions are yours to try. No matter your age, health, or circumstances. Above all, be gentle with yourself. Celebrate every bit of progress, no matter how tiny it seems. If you stumble, take a breath, steady yourself, and begin again. There's no deadline and no rush, just a loving journey back to your strength and steadiness. A final word of encouragement. You've spent a lifetime caring for others, raising children, working hard, building a home and a life. Now is your time to care gently for yourself. Think of each mindful step as a gift, a way to honor your body, cherish your independence, and claim the joy of moving freely in the world. If you ever doubt yourself, remember Alice and the thousands of women who have quietly transformed their lives with these simple changes. And remember, you're never walking alone. There are friends, family, and a whole community cheering you on with every step. So, next time you rise from your favorite chair or step out into your yard, pause, stand tall, and take that first mindful step. The path ahead is yours to walk steadily, safely, and with all the confidence you deserve. 5. Inspirational story. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Sometimes, what makes a lesson truly sink in isn't a long list of facts or even the best advice from experts. It's hearing about someone like you who faced a challenge and found a way through. If you've ever doubted that gentle changes can lead to powerful results, let me tell you about Evelyn, a remarkable woman I once met in a community center in Illinois. Evelyn was 79 years old, sharp as a tack, and the kind of person who always sent handwritten birthday cards to her friends and family. She lived alone in the same house she'd shared with her late husband, surrounded by shelves of family photos and a backyard she called her little patch of paradise. For most of her life, Evelyn had been fiercely independent. She drove herself to church on Sundays, made her meals, and prided herself on keeping her home just the way she liked it. But 2 winters ago, everything changed. One icy morning, while stepping onto her front porch to collect the newspaper, Evelyn slipped. In a split second, her legs shot out from under her, and she landed hard on her hip. The pain was so sharp she couldn't get up on her own. She lay there, shivering in the cold, until a neighbor noticed and called for help. The doctors told her she was lucky. The hip wasn't broken, just badly bruised, but the experience left its mark in more ways than one. After that fall, Evelyn's world grew smaller. She stopped driving, worried about icy parking lots. She no longer tended her garden or invited friends over for coffee. Even walking to her mailbox became a source of dread. She started to see her home less as a haven and more as a maze of hazards. A slippery tile here, a loose rug there, shadows on the stairs at night. The fall hadn't just hurt her hip, it had chipped away at her confidence. When her daughter, Susan, came to visit, she noticed her mother's cautious steps, the way Evelyn kept one hand on the wall and moved more slowly than before. "I just don't trust my legs anymore," Evelyn admitted one afternoon, a tremor in her voice that Susan had never heard before. "I'm afraid it'll happen again. I feel like I've lost part of myself." Susan listened with empathy, but she also remembered reading about a simple technique, mindful walking, designed to help seniors regain their balance. At first, Evelyn was skeptical. "I've been walking all my life," she said. "How could changing the way I walk make any difference at my age?" Still, Susan gently encouraged her. "Just try it for a week," she suggested. "We'll do it together. No pressure." They started in the living room, with Susan standing close by. Evelyn planted her feet, stood as tall as she could, and took a deep breath, trying to picture that invisible string lifting her head toward the ceiling. "Heel first," Susan reminded her. Evelyn lifted one foot, set her heel down, and slowly rolled through to her toes, just as Susan described. It felt awkward at first, like learning a new dance. But Susan kept encouraging her, "Steady steps, Mom. Look ahead, not at your feet. Swing your arms a little. Breathe." Each afternoon, they practiced for a few minutes, sometimes just from the sofa to the kitchen, sometimes the length of the hallway. Susan pointed out other small changes they could make together, rolling up loose rugs, moving a lamp to brighten a dark corner, and adding a grab bar by the stairs. Little by little, Evelyn's steps grew more confident. She found herself standing taller, breathing easier, and not gripping the wall so tightly. She began to remember what it felt like to move through her home without fear. A month later, on a sunny spring day, Susan suggested they try a short walk down the front path to the mailbox. Evelyn hesitated, heart racing, but with Susan by her side, she stepped outside. The path, once so intimidating, seemed manageable now. She reached the mailbox, picked up her mail, and turned to see Susan smiling with pride. That evening, Evelyn sat by her window and watched the sunset paint the sky pink and gold. For the first time since her fall, she felt hope returning. The next morning, she called her friend Mabel and invited her over for coffee. "I think I'm ready to get back to living," she said. In the months that followed, Evelyn made mindful walking a part of her daily routine. She even joined a senior walking group at the community center, where she made new friends and shared her story. "If I can do it," she would say with a laugh, "anyone can." Her backyard once again became her sanctuary, filled with blooming flowers and birdsong. She didn't move as quickly as she once did, but her steps were steady and sure. Looking back, Evelyn realized her recovery was about much more than healing a bruised hip. It was about reclaiming her independence and refusing to let fear steal her joy. "I thought I was too old to change," she told me one afternoon, sipping tea in her sunroom. "But it turns out you're never too old, not to learn something new, not to build your confidence, and not to enjoy your life." Evelyn's story isn't unique. Across America, thousands of senior women have faced the same doubts and fears after a fall or a close call. Some might retreat from the world, convinced that frailty and fear are their new reality. But Evelyn shows us another way, a way back to courage, to freedom, and to the simple pleasure of moving safely through each day. So if you're listening to this and feeling uncertain about your steps, take heart from Evelyn's journey. You don't have to accept fear or hesitation as your new normal. With gentle practice, small changes, and perhaps a little help from someone who cares, you can rediscover the confidence to walk tall. Each mindful step you take is a step toward the life you deserve, a life filled with warmth, connection, and hope. And always remember, no matter your age, it's never too late to write a new chapter, to walk a little steadier, and to greet the world with open arms. As we come to the end of this story, I hope you feel not just informed, but uplifted and inspired. The truth is, each of us faces challenges as we age, and it's perfectly natural to feel uncertain about changes in our bodies or abilities. But as you've seen today, even the smallest steps, quite literally, can open new doors to freedom and confidence. You are not alone in your worries about falling. So many women, just like Evelyn, have felt that fear and wondered if life would ever feel steady again. But there's real power in believing you can make a difference for yourself, no matter your age. Mindful walking, a few changes at home, and a willingness to try can turn anxiety into assurance. Every day is a new opportunity to practice, to learn, and to celebrate the progress you make, even if it's just one step at a time. Remember, your independence, your sense of self, and your ability to enjoy each day are worth protecting. Don't let the fear of falling hold you back from the things and people you love. Whether it's tending a garden, meeting friends, or simply walking through your living room with confidence, these moments are yours to claim. If this story moved you or reminded you of someone you care about, I encourage you to share it. Let's help others take their first step toward a safer, brighter tomorrow. And if you'd like more tips, encouragement, or stories just like this, don't forget to subscribe and join our community. Stay safe, stay strong, and remember, every journey begins with a single, mindful step.